Alright, I'm at Hermes, and I'm in the Carroll University weight room, and I'm going to walk you through the progression that I would teach an athlete how to power clean. So there's 4 positions that we're going to use, starting with the hip, then the mid-thigh, the knee, the hang position, and then from the floor. The first thing that we're going to do with the athletes is teach them how to do a shrug, or clean pull. So, approaching the bar, grab the bar just outside hip width. We're going to start in that hip position. All we're going to do from here is forcefully triple extend, shrug the shoulders at the same time. So we're going to get extension on the hip, knees, and ankles, shrug. That's going to teach them that top, that triple extension you want to get the bar moving. So once they master that from the hip position, we're going to move down about mid-thigh. Get the same exact movement, pulling up to the hip, triple extension. Pressing eventually down to the hang, around the knee, up to the hip, and eventually to the floor. Now, pulling from the floor, you want to mind that first pull, or that pull from the floor to the hang position, is relatively slow. You don't want to force the bar up like that, because you're going to get out of position, the bar is going to be forward, you're not going to get your hips through. So with this motion, we're going to go nice and easy, to the floor, up to the knee, to the mid-thigh, up to the hip. So, full speed. Now with this movement, you want to make sure that it's a vertical movement. This is a vertical power movement. A lot of people tend to pop their hips forward. That brings the bar out this way. You tend to lose a lot of power on that. You got to jump forward to get under the bar, or when you go to catch it, you really lean forward. So you want to make sure that you're almost essentially mimicking a vertical jump movement out of the hips, knees, and ankles. And once they come back, all right, now we're going to focus on the catch. We talked about the vertical movement of the bar, keeping it nice and close to your body, not letting it fly out in front of you. So now with the catch, when we pop the hips, getting that triple extension, we're going to break at the elbow, getting what's called a scarecrow position. The arms shoot out to the side, not forward or back. The bar's going to naturally want to come up. The bar's at its peak. You're going to shoot your elbows through, ending up in a front squat position or a rack position. Now, when we catch this bar, we're going to end up in what's called the power position or a quarter squat position. When we're working with team sport athletes, sports like that, we're going to focus on catching in a power or quarter squat position. This is so these athletes can develop some eccentric strength and be able to resist force that's acting upon them. It's going to help them in their sports, things like change of direction, or if somebody exerts a force on them, they're able to resist it and exert a force back. Now, if you're working specifically with Olympic weightlifting athletes, then of course we would want to go into a full catch, as that's very specific to their sport, but today we're just going to go over the catch in the quarter squat. So we're going to go over the same positions that we used for the shrug, but now we're just going to add the arm break or the scarecrow and the catch. So starting with the hip position, hip triple extension, pop the bar up, and catch. So it's going to look like ending in that quarter squat, coming up to a stand. I'm going to move down to mid-thigh, same thing, up to hip. Down to the hang. And then from the floor. So now that we've gone over the progression of the movement, we're going to put a little weight on the bar and put the whole movement together. Just a few reminders. Remember that first pull from the floor, making sure that it's nice and under control. When we're pulling from the floor, making sure that the hips and the shoulders are rising at the same rate, and that we keep that back in a nice set position. We're not rounding. So I'm going to hit the movement, a couple from the diagonal view here, and then we're going to hit one from the side, and then we'll talk at the end. All right, so that's the progression of the power clean that we would use when we're working with athletes. So just a few reminders. The reason we use Olympic weightlifting in our resistance training programs is to develop speed and power. We want to focus on bar velocity, make sure that the athletes are getting their hips through using that full triple extension, because that's what's going to be the best way to develop speed and power on the field or in their given sport. So again, I'm Matt Hermes, and that's my progression for the power play.